In this tutorial, we're going to learn to make a reusable utensil holder. It's so cute and handy to take with you to help you refuse plastic cutlery when you're out. It should take about 1.5 hours to complete this project. So first, cut your pieces. You can choose 2 different color fabrics. One will be the outer pattern and one will be the inner pattern. So now we've got our 2 large pieces. We've got our skinny inner strap piece, and lastly our outer fastener piece. So we're going to face the right sides together and make sure everything lines up properly. And pin it around the edges into place. So next we're going to stitch around the edges. Make sure to leave a 2-inch gap on the side so we can turn it inside out later. So I use about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. It's a little less because I find it easier to slide the needle all the way to the right side and line up the edge of the fabric with the presser foot. This helps it to stitch evenly down the sides. Always backstitch and remove pins as you sew. So next, snip the excess thread, and then we're going to snip a small bit of the corners diagonally to reduce bulk. Do not cut your stitches or this will leave a hole in the corner when you turn it inside out. So do this for all 4 corners. And now we're going to turn the piece inside out using the 2-inch hole on the side. So poke out the corners using a pointy but blunt tool, and this will give you nice crisp corners. So do this for all 4 corners. And now we're going to take all of our pieces to the iron. So massage or roll out the seams and iron everything flat. And make sure to fold and iron the open 2-inch section. It should be easy to tuck in because the edges around it are already stitched. So now take your outer fastener piece and fold 1/4 inch against the wrong side on all 4 sides. Do the long edges first and then the short edges and iron it flat. And then fold it in half again and iron it flat. And you'll see the inner corners sort of sticking out here. Don't worry about that, we'll snip these later. And repeat the same process with the inner strap piece. So now we've got 3 pieces, the large utensil holder body, the inner strap, and the outer fastener. The width of the inner strap piece should be a bit smaller than the width of the outer strap piece. So now we're going to top stitch around the utensil holder body. if you're using two different fabrics, be mindful of what color you have on top and what color you have for your bobbin. I've got green on top and black for the bobbin. Pin one side to keep it closed while stitching. Open up one end and snip the corners. Only snip above the folded line or have a hole in the corner. So after doing both ends, tuck everything back in. And top stitch around all the edges. Since it's so small and thin, sometimes I use a little poker tool to help the fabric feed through. And there we go. We have our inner strap. Take a look at which side might look better. You can choose this side as the top side. And repeat these steps with the outer strap. So pin, snip, and top stitch. And there we go. Next, take your utensil holder and fold up 4 inches from the bottom, doesn't matter which end, and pin it into place. Next, place the inner strap piece about 6.5 inches from the bottom and pin it into place. So now we're going to use pins to mark 3 lines where we want to divide this one big pocket into 4 smaller ones. So I place the pins on the bottom at around 2.25, 4, and 5.75 inch marks along the bottom, and do the same for the top of the pocket. So make these same markings for the inner strap. And stitch down the sides of the pocket and make sure the edges are lined up. So stitch down now the 3 marked pocket edges starting from the center line, and this will make sure that any excess fabric gaps are evenly spaced. So now you've got 4 pockets. So now do the same thing with the inner strap. Stitch the sides of the strap first, making sure it lines up with the edges. Stitch the markings starting from the one in the center, and make sure these line up with the stitches you made for the pockets. So now we're going to attach our snaps to the fastener piece. So take out your 4 snap pieces, which include 2 backings, 1 socket, and 1 stud, and your small pliers. And we're going to attach the snaps on opposite sides, one facing each side of the strap. So on one side, push the backing through the fabric. You'll have more success in the next step if you can see the spikes poke through the fabric. place the socket on top of the spikes. So make sure the spikes line up with the grooves on the back of the socket. And take your pliers and carefully but firmly squish the two pieces together. So the spikes will be pushed into the grooves, they'll bend, and the piece will be secured together. So here's the socket. It's firmly attached. And next we're going to flip over the piece and repeat the steps on the opposite end, inserting the second backing from underneath. So again, poke the spikes through the fabric, line it up, and squish the two pieces together. And there you go. So now when you snap the two pieces together, it should form a continuous circle. So now we've got our outer fastener piece complete. Next, we want to turn over the main body and take your outer fastener piece with the socket facing upwards and place the piece 5 inches from the bottom. So the piece should go horizontally across the body. And make sure it's flush to the left side and pin it into place. Now we're going to attach this to the main body piece by stitching on both sides of the socket. So now cut your threads, and that's it. You've now created your own reusable utensil holder. And you can stick your fork, spoon, reusable straw, knife, chopsticks, whatever inside. And you can fold it up and snap it. And you can also adjust these directions to suit your own taste. So whether it's changing the fabric, the width, I wouldn't adjust the length though, as it ensures tall utensils such as straws and chopsticks can fit. Happy sewing!